Welcome back to Weekend Out. My name is Gaurav. Naam to suna hoga. So today, what we've done is we've taken a little bit of a drive and we've come to Abu Dhabi. And what brings us to Abu Dhabi is a brand new restaurant. Now, this is a restaurant that's serving Indian-inspired cuisine. Now, the first impression that you get is, of course, now this is one of those progressive, modern Indian sort of restaurants. But this has become a trend these days, right? Every Indian restaurant or every new Indian restaurant that I'm visiting these days, I'm seeing an evolution of, food, aesthetics, ideas, and it's time to try out what these guys have to offer. Sitting in the capital city of Abu Dhabi, Tamba is an exquisite Indian diner with a contemporary twist. Reinventing and redefining with food, art decor and experience, Indian restaurants are making quite a mark in this region. And it was time to find out more about this venture. So Akshay, when you hear the name Tamba, I thought, I will get butter chicken, Rogan Josh, but obviously this is not the kind of food I'm going to get here. Tell me a bit about Tamba.
It's a traditional Hindi word, Tamba.
Right.
It means copper.
Copper.
You see that looking around. But that's where the Hindi-ness of the word stops. Tamba, most people won't know this, has meanings in many languages around the world. So in Estonia, it's the name of a historical village.
Okay.
In Japan, it's the name of a province. In South America, it's the name of a beach. In West Africa, there are 3 countries where the word Tamba means the second-born son. So, it's an international word. And that's why we picked the name Tamba for this restaurant. Because it's Hindi at its core, but it's a truly global word. And that's what we're going to create with this restaurant.
It's time to taste some food from the menu and find out what's progressive Indian about it. I've picked out 2 very unique dishes to start with, king crab puri and seared salmon. Okay, so these are the first 2 things that I have ordered. One is the king crab puri, and what it is actually their own version of pani puri. But the funny fact is that this really doesn't have any sort of pani. If you take a close look at this, and this one is the seared salmon. So here's the first bite. So this actually gives you the feel of a pani puri that you've never tasted before. So it's an amalgamation of a lot of flavors, absolutely new way of presenting a pani puri. So try it, you must. Now we're going to move on to the next dish on the table. Now this is another very, very interesting thing. Now this is the seared salmon. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put my spoon in, pick up a piece. Here we go. We'll find out what's Indian or Indian inspired about this right away. Okay, so here's what I feel about it. The ponzu is a very, sort of a classic ponzu. It's got the citrusy taste and the soya back that it's got to have. I'm trying to find the Indian touch in this, and the only thing I can see here is that it's been crusted with anardana. Indian-inspired food. What does that mean?
So it's Indian food which is inspired, and it's inspired by the world around it and by techniques and ingredients and cultures and methods. One example, I think, a very good one, is that we've got 3 raw fish items on our menu.
That's unusual.
Yeah. Now, most people won't associate raw fish with Indian food at all.
At all.
But a lot of raw fish is eaten actually in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which are part of India. We're touching into all aspects of Indian cuisine and looking beyond and removing all borders of what Indian food should be.
The next thing I've picked out of the menu is the Chilean sea bass, which is made on a robata grill. I've heard the marination that they've used has got a certain Indian element to it as well. Let's try it. So with a touch of my tongue, it started flaking, and as soon as it flakes, it starts melting. And the only thing I'm biting on is the marination that's stuck outside, and that's giving me all the flavor that the fish has. So, it's got this creamy sort of texture, the sea bass, from inside. And when it's grilled right, you can feel it. It's almost like a spread in your mouth. It coats your mouth all over. I love this feeling. The menu also has some great vegetarian options, and I'm going to start with a very interesting dish, Bombay Bhaji Rolls. So this is one of those restaurants where a vegetarian can come in and he actually has choices to choose from. This is a bhaji roll, and this bhaji actually stands for pav bhaji. So this is their own version of a pav bhaji roll. Like you can see, there is no pav anywhere around. There is no red color anywhere around. I can see a lot of vegetables here. So this actually comes in the form of a roll. So you see this, it's topped up with vegetables. See it before I destroy the look. There you go. So this is how it is. I'm going to put it in my plate now. The pav here has been replaced by a cannelloni. I'm going to cut this pav bhaji in a bite. Okay. This is a complete surprise package. I've got to tell you that they've sort of reinvented the way you would ever imagine having a pav bhaji. So when you have it first, after you bite into the cannelloni, the first thing that touches your mouth is a proper bhaji of the pav bhaji. So you can actually, taste the pav bhaji masala. You can feel, the creaminess of the potato, the vegetables that have all gone in. They've used a little bit of aam panna in it as well. Now that completely changes the flavor of this sauce. So there are lots of elements that have gone in and they've come up with their own real different sort of taste. The second dish I'm trying is the mushroom khichdi, an unusual take on khichdis. So I've always found it very, very fascinating. All my life I've been a lover of khichdi. They have something called the mushroom khichdi. I am very eager to try this. This looks very different. It's got a lot of bundi on top of it. I can see croquettes on it as well. Oh, okay, here we go. So this is a proper mushroom risotto, and with the kind of toppings that they've done, they've actually made true a saying. Khichdi ke hai char yaar, dahi, papad, ghee, achar. They've brought all those elements in here. So there are some mushroom croquettes, so they bring in the crispiness of papad. There is truffle oil that makes up for the ghee. There is the cheese that makes up for your dairy. Of course, it's not dahi. And for achar, they've got a very, very interesting thing here. They've got some blackberry that they've turned into an achar. Beautiful.
In terms of the deco, I love the fact that there's so many stories to tell. These bells were these lights were custom made for us in India. That ceramic is made in Italy. I love the ambience. I think it's especially at night, the restaurant transforms into a very seductive, sultry to the sexy space.
It's a K Company production.